Hey YouTubers, welcome back to Tony the Technician's channel, and today on Tool Talk episode 8 I kind of just want to go over and compare some of the cheaper brands and mid-quality brands of pliers and just kind of compare them, not just pliers but wire cutters and medical shears as well. All of these things are good for do-it-yourselfers. Medical shears can come in handy even in the automotive field or anything that you're doing at your house. I keep them in my toolbox instead of keeping normal scissors because they can only cut through so many things. Medical shears are much stronger and can cut through a lot more things. I will demonstrate that to you. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, but they really do come in handy when you need them. And then I'll go over some of the basic pliers. I do not have any Nip-X or channel lock pliers, which I will be purchasing some Nip-X because truthfully, my personal opinion, they are the best brand pliers you can get. Those in channel lock. Channel lock is made in USA and Nip-X I believe is made in Germany. So if you have the money and you're looking for a good plier set, they do cost a little bit more, but Nip-X or channel lock is the way to go. I do not have anything here at home that is Nip-X or channel lock, but I will soon, and I will do a review on those when I get them. But for this video, I'm just going to be going over the pliers that I have here and all the different types and quality of them. I'll show you my drawer of pliers, and then I'll set them up on my bench and I'll go through all the differences in them. Okay guys, so this is my pliers drawer. Pretty good variety of different pliers. These are my gear wrench, DeWalt and Bostitch. Just some cheap Pittsburgh ones, some Tecton clip pliers, miniature set from Pittsburgh, some gear wrench double X pliers, some long needle nose pliers. These are Pittsburgh as well, some Cobalt vice grips, and these are just some adjustable wrenches. But I'll go over all of these and kind of compare what I can and show you guys what you should be looking for in pliers. I really wish I had some Nip-X here, but I'll add that in when I get them. So let me get things laid out so we can kind of compare them and move on with this video. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go through channel locks or adjustable pipe pliers first and kind of compare what I have and show you the differences and what you kind of want to look for the specific job that you're going to be doing. So let me get the camera set up. I just wanted to kind of show you what I do have, and then I'll show you kind of the differences in between them. Okay, so anytime you're buying pliers of any sort, there's a few things that you want to look for. Length of the pliers. The longer, the more leverage you can get. But then again, if you're working in small places, large pliers aren't going to work for you. So you might need more than one of the same pair of pliers. Another thing is the thickness of the pliers is a good thing to look at, as well as the coating on the pliers. If they don't have a rust resistant coating or anything like that, they will get rusty over time. Even keeping cheaper pliers, I have cheaper pliers and I spray all my tools with WD-40 and clean them and everything. That can only help so much when the tool itself was not made to prevent rust. So then after that, you're looking into the comfort grip of the handles. Obviously, the more you pay for pliers, the better features you're gonna get. As far as this cheap Pittsburgh, I believe it is a 8-inch. Yes, 8-inch pair of pipe pliers. They are very cheap. You get a set, your basic set of all different types of pliers for like $10. So they are extremely cheap, but when I needed them before I had any of my other tools, they did work okay. And if that's all you can afford and you're a do-it-yourselfer, then that's just fine. If you're in the automotive field, I wouldn't suggest using Pittsburgh pliers. I would probably get something that's gonna last. But with these, they don't have really any protective coating on them. They are a little bit softer compared to better quality pliers, as well as if you look at the teeth, they're just, well, for one, the pliers don't line up. that is one thing you definitely want to look at. There's a lot of play here in the head, as well as adjusting it can kind of be a pain in the butt. But one thing you really want to focus on is the teeth. And they're big, but they're soft. They get damaged pretty easy. And the bottom row, you don't really have much for teeth down here. They're quite shallow compared to the top, and your pliers don't line up no matter where you put them. So that's the Pittsburgh. I wouldn't suggest it for any automotive or professional or anybody doing construction or anything like that. That's going to be using their pliers quite a bit. I wouldn't suggest it. For the do-it-yourselfer, homework, you're just doing little projects, they're probably going to be just fine for you. But kind of compare them to the DeWalt that I have. They are the same size. They're both 8 inches, and you can just tell by holding them how much stronger the DeWalt pair is. And obviously you can tell the handles are completely different. The comfort grip on the DeWalt is much nicer, as well as the coating on it. Like I stated before, that is something you want to look for. Some of them will have a coating. This is almost just painted over the metal, so it will prevent rust. So that's one thing that I really like about these DeWalt adjustable pliers. That, and these are not a push button. It's just, there's no locking it into place. With the DeWalt and many other brands, you can get the feature of the push button lock now, which you just press the button, slide it to where you want, and it locks it in place. So if you're on like a 1-inch nut or a pipe or anything like that, you don't have to worry about the pliers adjusting size. So it's real quick and real easy to use. It's a very nice design. The teeth are really nice. I kind of get this special feature in here, which really allows you to grip. You have the teeth that go in different directions. Sorry if you can't see that. So you don't have to flip the pliers over in order to turn a pipe a certain direction. So that's really nice. And that's just compared to the Pittsburgh, the same size. You also look at the heads and get these lined up. You can still tell that the DeWalt is a little offset, but there's no play. Well, there's a little bit of play, but nothing like the Pittsburgh set that wiggles quite a bit. So you also get a much thinner frame here. So granted, some pliers with better metal will be stronger if they're thicker, but the DeWalt metal used on these pliers are stronger than the DeWalt or the Pittsburgh set. So even though this frame is much thinner, these pliers are much stronger than these Pittsburgh. Now, when compared to a different brand, I can't really say the same thing. But another set I also have the DeWalt. I believe the larger pair are 10.5 inches. Yes. So I have this Bostitch and DeWalt. They're basically identical. They both have the part numbers on them, and they basically have the exact same design. The locking feature as well, push button locking feature. And even though the grip is different on this pair, it is a really nice rubber, especially compared to this. It's got a really good grip to it, and it's really strong. So I really like these. Besides that, I also have gear wrench. This is I believe a 9-inch and a 9.5-inch and a 12-inch pair of pipe pliers. They are not the push button lock, and even though they are much larger, you can see how the teeth line up compared, and the thickness of the metal as well. Now these do adjust a lot easier than the Pittsburgh pair. This is the straight teeth. Obviously you get the rounded head here, and the teeth they go opposite directions as well. And the handles are really nice. When I first purchased these, I thought the black was just rubber and the red was plastic, but it all seems to be a rubberized plastic. So it does have a really nice feel to it. They're really strong. I've had zero problems with these so far. I will definitely do a comparison when I get Knipex pliers, because those things are absolutely amazing. I don't have any here, but I have used them quite a bit, and Knipex is a great brand. Obviously, you see that Matco, Snap-on, all the big people use Knipex and just put their logo on them because they are the best. Knipex, I mean, there might be some that I haven't heard of that maybe you guys know of that are just as good as Knipex, maybe cheaper or more expensive, who knows. Knipex is what I know of as the best. But besides that, let's move on to a different pair of pliers and compare the differences. Another thing, before I move on, I do want to state kind of the prices of these. Obviously, like I say, the Pittsburgh set is going to run you about $10 for all different types of pliers. I think it's like an 8-piece set or something like that. The gear wrench, it is a 7-piece set, I believe. You get Kleins, end nippers, regular pliers, side cutters, needle nose, and 2 different sizes of adjustable pliers. So that runs about $70. Then your DeWalt, it comes as a 2-piece set of the adjustable ones with the push button. I think that ran me about, if I remember correctly, about $30. And then the Boss Stitch I bought by itself, and it ran about $20 as well. When you look at Knipex or channel locks, you're gonna look at a set of 3 maybe, and it's gonna run you around $100. So they are a little bit more expensive, but if you're in the professional field, that is probably the way to go. If you guys have any other suggestions for great pliers out there, leave them in the comments for others, and maybe the price for them as well. So let me get these put away and we'll move on. Okay, so next I just kind of want to go over needle nose pliers. There are many different lengths and designs as well. Now remember, I don't want to say this for every single pair of pliers, but let me just state it now. When you're looking at a good pair of pliers, you want to make sure that they have a rust-resistant coat of some sort, a good grip, good metal, possibly a good warranty as well, and the teeth. The teeth are very important. If they don't have much of any teeth, like these Pittsburgh miniature set, they don't really have any teeth. You might be able to grab things, but you're not going to get a good grip on things if you really need to pull on something. What else do you want to look for? Oh, features. Some pliers might have more than one feature. Like it might have a gripping feature as well as a cutting feature and gripping features in different locations. Like this pair of Pittsburgh needle nose, you have the grip at the front, you have the cutter in the center, and then you also have these teeth in the bottom where you can grip things as well. Whereas some of the others will not have it. This has the little feature of the 2 little pieces of metal that meet in order to give it that spring type action. But really, you need to look into the pliers that you're going to buy. You don't want to be buying anything cheap like these Pittsburgh if you're going to be using them a lot. That's the last time I stated, so I'm not just repeating myself over and over and annoying you guys. So, moving into needle nose, you have many different types, lengths, angles, things like that. These Pittsburgh miniature set, they do have a nice handle on them. They're almost like the gear wrench ones that I have, but you can definitely tell that they're not as nice. You can see where it was made, and you can feel that line of the plastic right up the middle, and then on the ends as well. But this set right here is actually really nice. It's got a little bit thicker of a head on it, and the teeth are actually pretty nice on it as well. Now I can't say as far as the rust resistant coating, I haven't had these long, so none of my pliers have started rusting yet, but only time will tell. So these are normal miniature needle nose pliers. Then you have angled, and you can get many different angles, 45 degree, 90 degree. There's a lot of different needle nose pliers out there. I'm not going to show you my long needle nose right now. I'm just going to show you my standard ones. So like I just showed you, you got the regular, you got the 45 degree. Then you also have long needle nose pliers. Now, since these are Pittsburgh, I feel when I do use these that possibly when pulling on something or prying on something with them, you will most likely bend these or break them. But since it is a miniature set, I don't use it on a lot of big things. So it's okay for what I do here at home. I would not use these in my work box. But these are the gear wrench. It's got the part number on there as well. Obviously it came with the 7-piece set, so I didn't buy it individually. But gear wrench does have a good warranty on them, a lifetime warranty. You just send a picture if it's broken and mail it off to them and they send you a new one back, just like their wrenches and anything else. These do have the grip up front. It has, instead of having another grip on the back to grab things, you have it here right before the cutting part of the pliers here. I really like this design. They could have done a little bit better job of mating the surface in between the teeth, but I've had zero problems with it, and I really enjoy these handles. They're extremely comfortable and strong. So these are definitely my favorite pair as of right now, and I would use those in a professional environment. This is just another pair of Pittsburgh. You got your miniature, well, they're both miniature, but this is your smaller of the two pair. Like I said, they do have the same features except for the bottom having the teeth here on this one. So that's basically some of the things you want to look at when looking at needle nose pliers. Now I'm going to kind of get into some of the other things, such as C-clip pliers, Kiwi pliers, wire cutters, and medical shears. Okay, so as I've said in some of my older videos, I did used to do a lot of audio and electrical work as far as hooking up systems and stuff like that. I started when I was around 14 with my friend. He was older than me, and he was always hooking systems up in his car. So I was just self-taught, me and him just learning how to do it. And we ended up doing it a lot, and I actually really enjoyed it. So when I got my first car, I was doing the same thing to my car, running multiple different head units and subs and amplifiers and capacitors and stuff like that. I just loved messing around with it, and I actually got pretty good at it. So one thing you really need when doing wiring are wire cutters, crimpers, stuff like that. I used to have a really good set of strippers and crimpers, but I don't know where they went. I haven't seen them in forever. I just have two basic pair now. I got this cheap one with a like a connector kit, and it does the job okay. It's got your crimping parts up here of all different size connectors. It's not the best crimp in the world. It's got some cutter. It's got a cheap cutting part right here, and obviously your different gauge of strippers right here. But it's not the best set. It does tend to bend, and I don't really use it all that often, especially since the stripping part is at the bottom. If you're in a tight spot, you want the stripping action parts up on the nose so you can get in tight spots and still strip wires. With this, you can't really get it all the way up in tight spots. So that's why I purchased this set, and it's got little teeth here for grabbing wire. It's got your wire size strippers here, and then you got multiple different crimp styles down here, and these do actually crimp really well. I believe this set ran me, or this pair of wire strippers ran me like $10. So it's not super expensive, but it does do a much better job than this. But I really do need to purchase a better set of wire strippers and crimpers. You can get them separate, or you can get them in a combination, just like these two. But those are just a couple things I just wanted to cover real quick. The next thing are my Easy Red Kiwi pliers. Now these are extremely handy. They come in a nice little foam case, and the reason a lot of professionals have pliers like this, you might not need them at home if you're a do-it-yourselfer or you're just doing little projects, but these come in handy when you're trying to get at something where using a normal pair of pliers, if you're trying to grab something and you're looking down, your hand's gonna be in the way. Well, basically the reason for these are to get your hand out of the way so you can see what you're grabbing. When you're looking down, you can actually see what you're grabbing at. And it's a 2-piece set. I think it ran $30, and you get the small ones like I just showed you and these extra long ones as well. The teeth are really nice. It's a solid pair. It feels really nice in the hand. It's got a good grip. It lines up. It's a decent pair of pliers. I have had zero problems with Easy Red. I have a couple of their products as far as like their extra long flex head ratcheting wrenches. I'm sure you've seen those if you've watched any of my previous videos. But this set ran me about $30. It comes in this nice little case. It does take up quite a bit of room, so and they sit really funny in a plier rack, so that's why I kept them in here. Plus, it looks better than just laying them down in my drawer. So these will probably come in handy more for the people that do this as a profession. Next thing I want to go over are medical shears. Like I stated in the beginning of this video, they are extremely handy when needing to cut something, especially on like interior work or even wires or metal. Obviously not really thick metal. They're not metal shears or anything like that, but they're great for emergencies and they work as scissors or more. So that's why I always keep this set in my toolbox. This set's in my bug out bag, but this is a really nice set compared to this. This I got when I was in the service, and this comes in basically any medic kit or anything you find medical related. This is usually the set that you'll find. This is more of the type that they use in hospitals and stuff. My wife actually got me these from her work, so that's why I have those. They do have a like serrated knife edge down here, and then just a plain knife edge here, if you can see that. And then these are, where are they? Made in Germany and Singapore. It does have the part numbers. You could just look up medical shears. You can find them. They also make almost like a Gerber version of, I think it's Leatherman that makes them. And it's a little bit bulkier, but it comes with like a knife and a ring cutter and stuff like that. But you also have these teeth at the bottom. So you can see that. And then I just want to show you kind of what they can do. So I got a couple pennies here, and they do cut through pennies. This is the cheaper set, but they still work. I could cut through an entire penny, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to show you that they both do. This set is obviously a lot stronger than the other set, but they really do come in handy in emergency situations, and I always keep one in my toolbox just in case. So this one also has the serrated teeth on the bottom and a super, well, I shouldn't say super, but a pretty sharp knife edge up here. And I love them. I know Justin Dow also has a pair in his toolbox, and even though you might not use it a lot, they can still come in handy when you do need them. So that's why I keep them in my box. Now I'm just going to move into a couple different types of C-clip pliers and show you the differences. Okay, so I have a set of 4 individual clip ring pliers and a set of Pittsburgh interchangeable head clip pliers. A good company that does make a good pair of clip pliers would be Lang. I'm really looking into those. I think it comes in a nice blow molded case, and I think it's like 8 or 10 different styles of clip pliers for $30 or $40. So I'm really looking into getting that for my work box, whereas these that I'm about to show you are just for home use. The Tekton is a pretty nice set. I've only used them a couple times, but they do work good. You have the different styles where it's open and then you pinch them shut, and then you also have the other style that is closed and you can open them up. So you have the two straight angles. These are made in China, but usually with C-clips or anything like that, they're not going to be ridiculously hard, so they shouldn't break, but you never know. Time will tell. So besides the straight, you also have these 45, close to 90 degree on these, and more to 45 on these. But they're a decent set, and I believe that ran me like $15 for the set of 4. And the handles are really nice. The reason I got these over the Pittsburgh, so the Pittsburgh is interchangeable. You press the button, you can pull it out and switch the direction and all of that. But as you can see, it's just got this little tab on the bottom. When you press the button, you straighten this tab out and you can pull the head off and put any of these different heads on. You got another straight angle one, you got a 90 degree, and like a 45 degree. But the problem with these is when you're using them, they can become quite large, so if you're in a tight spot, they might not work for you. These are a decent pair of clip pliers. I wouldn't say they're the best, but they've done the job when I needed them to. But I really prefer this style just because if you're in the automotive profession and you're trying to get a job done, most of the time you're on a time limit, and to change these heads out of the clip pliers can take some time, and that's taking money away from you. That's why most professional mechanics or technicians will have an entire set of different clip pliers so they can just run to their box, grab the one that they need. They don't have to worry about anything and get the job done. They also take up less room when trying to get into tight spots. So that's another positive thing about the clip pliers. So if you guys want a good set, Lang does make a good set. There are many different ones out there. You can look them up. They range anywhere from $10 to $100, just depending on how many you're getting and the brand and quality and everything like that, obviously. But let's move on from these and get into some other pliers. Okay. So the next thing I'm gonna move into is end nippers, and they're useful for some certain things in the automotive field, but more towards like carpenters and stuff like that are gonna be like pulling staples and cutting off nails. But they are really good for zip ties as well. You know, when you get in there with this pair of side cutters or something, they can leave a little left over, and those things are extremely sharp. As if anybody has ever done electrical or ran anything with zip ties and cut the ends, you know how sharp those ends of the zip ties can be. That's where these really come in handy. This is just a cheap pair from Pittsburgh, but they're perfect for, I use these for zip ties, not really anything else. You can really get on the end of the zip tie and clip it as close to the end or the head of the zip tie as possible. Then I also got this with the set of gear wrench pliers. Now, when looking at these, if you look at like the channel lock version, they're more like this than they are like this. Milwaukee's set is almost identical to this. Basically the difference is how close the cutter is to the top of the pliers. So the closer they are, obviously, the more flush you can cut things up against whatever object you're cutting against. So like if I had a nail in the bottom of this workbench and it was sticking up through the top, this was a bigger set, I would use this, but you can clip the top of that nail off and it will be flush with the top of the workbench, so you're not, you know, jabbing yourself with a nail. And these work just fine for pulling staples, nails, all of that, and they do work great for cutting nails. But as you can see, the cutter is not flush with the top, so you will have a small amount still sticking up. So they're not the best for flush cutting, but as far as zip ties and everything, it will work, and a lot of different things on automotive work. As you can tell, these are also coated in a material to prevent rust, and they are extremely nice gripping handles as well. Like I stated, all of the gear wrench ones do. And this is great for smaller things, but I would use this set in the professional field just because I would only be using it for small things, and I don't really take a chance of breaking these using them on anything. But that's the only two pair that I have for the end nippers. Can't really show you kind of the better ones, like the channel lock ones that are this size but have the flush mount head. But if you guys want to check it out, you can look it up online, just Channel Lock's version of the end nippers, and you'll find them there. They also run a set of channel locks, will run you about $100 as well. So they are a little bit more expensive, but if you really do a lot of carpentry work, they would be great for you. Next, I just want to go over a couple pair of Kleins that I have. They are not Klein brand, they're just Klein pliers. They have multiple different features as well. Some of them you can get with a puller on the bottom that has a feature where you can pull wire. You also have a large cutting area, rounded gripping area, and your teeth up top. This is my favorite pair. It doesn't have all the features that some of the more expensive ones do, but they are extremely strong, and I find myself using Kleins actually quite often, especially for like twisting wires in a wiring harness. It works really well for that. I know they do make a special pair of pliers that you just pull and it twists the wire for you, but I don't find myself running that many wiring harnesses to where I need to purchase a set, especially for I believe they run like $30, and I just wouldn't find myself using them enough to purchase that. This is the Pittsburgh version. This is actually a decent pair of Kleins as far as the Pittsburgh set. I find basically all their other pliers flimsy and unstraight, and the teeth are really crappy. But they actually did a decent job on these Kleins. They're not terrible, but I am afraid they are going to start rusting. I've used them and it's already kind of taken the coat off of the inside that they have in there. So they're not the best, but they will get the job done, and they are actually stronger than any of their other pliers. So these, for me, are a must-have. I really like these. But next, I'm going to get into the longer needle nose and the differences in between the double X and the normal, and then just some vice grips, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I don't want to be going on for an hour just about pliers. So if you guys do want any more information after this video or anything like that, please leave it in the comments and I'll make sure to respond as soon as I possibly can. Another thing that comes in handy, I should have done these after the end nippers, but are the dikes or side cutters. Pittsburgh set, which I keep at home, and then my gear wrench ones, which I really do keep these oiled very well because I really don't want my stuff to rust. And as you can tell, these also have the rust prevention coat. I'm having a brain fart right now. It does also have it inside. And these are extremely well made. These are one of my favorites out of the gear wrench set. It cuts very well. They're very strong. And I've had zero problems with them. As far as these, you can feel once again in the handle that these are a little bit cheaper, obviously. And basically, I'm just repeating myself. You guys just want to make sure that you get a good quality plier set if you're going to be doing a lot of work. If you're not, this set will do. Check it out, $10 or so, Harbor Freight. But if you're doing a lot of work, I suggest actually spending a little bit more money on your pliers, getting something you're happy with. So even though these are the most common pair of pliers, they're just your normal pliers, and these are both Pittsburgh. I don't really use them as often as anything else. I really find myself using these the least. And I actually use this design more. This is like Gear Wrench's version of their normal pliers, but the design is, I think, a lot better. It's almost in between a normal and a needle nose. Obviously, it's not long, but I really do like the design of this. This doesn't have the black coating like the other ones for some reason, but I do keep them very well oiled, like always. And I find myself using these way more often than I would these, not just because these are cheap and they flex, but because I just don't use a normal pair of pliers all that often. I like this design much better, and I will continue to use these. But let's move on to the extra long pliers now. Okay, so the first set of extra long pliers that I bought, the needle nose, were the Pittsburgh, and I really haven't had any major problems with them, but I also don't use these in the professional environment. These are the Pittsburgh set. It has a nice rubber grip handle, and they do actually operate really smoothly. The teeth are a little chewed up. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. They do get chewed up pretty easily. I really haven't used these a whole lot, and they've already been kind of nicked and damaged. But I have the straight, and then I also have the 45 degree as well. And this is also the Pittsburgh. Then I have the Gear Wrench Double X, both straight and 45. And compared to the Pittsburgh, they are much longer. The handles are thicker. Basically the same material for the handles though. But the reason I really like these Double X pliers is, well, for the reason that they were made. They open up the head of the pliers without opening up the handles, so I can still have my hand around here while having this fully open. Whereas if I had these full, obviously you're not going to be grabbing something that is that big. So let's keep it at the same size as the Gear Wrench. I'll open the head up the same distance and then compare where the handles are. So as you can see, the heads are lined up, but with the handle open this far on the normal pair, you might be in a tight situation. Well, for one, you can't really grab the handle, and this might get in the way of an object that you're working on. Whereas that's where the X comes in. It opens this up to save you from opening the handles as far. So I really find that coming in handy. Same thing for the 45 degree ones. So I do use these in the professional environment. They've worked great. I do believe these ones are made in China, but I've had zero problems with them. Plus their warranty's fine. Maybe later on I'll get a better set, but as of right now I've had zero problems with those, and I'll continue to use those as well. But these do come in handy when you're trying to get into a tight space and grab something. So that's why I got the Double X Gear Wrench needle nose pliers. Now for vice grips, at home I just have a cheaper set of Cobalt. I wouldn't use these in the work environment either because, well, for one, they're extremely bulky and pretty flimsy. When they're not compressed, they are, you can feel the rivets aren't strong or anything, but they work good for home use. You get a set of 3, the normal, you get one just like this but smaller, and then you get your needle nose as well. Basically I just use these for crimping off fuel lines and hoses and stuff like that. I just put some hose over these and just crimp off lines. But they do fine at home. But for the work environment, I would suggest actually spending your some more money on a really good set. You will find yourself needing vice grips a lot more than you think. If you're just coming into this field, ask any professional technician or mechanic, and they would tell you that you really need to find yourself a good set of these, and preferably something that's not as bulky as the Cobalt set. But I'm happy for home use with these. They work fine, but for the professional environment, get yourself something a little bit better. Okay, so moving on to really the last thing that I want to cover. It's not really something that a do-it-yourselfer or somebody at home would really need unless you're working on a lot of cars. It's mainly more for the professional technician. I do have a set at home of a cheaper, I have the Pittsburgh, whereas at work I will have a better set just because these do have reviews of the tips breaking off. But they're good for home use, they're cheap, and so that's why I bought them for home. They're the Pittsburgh hose pliers. They're great for, you get a set of 3, I think, for around $10. 3 different sizes from small to large. And they're great for all different sizes of hoses. They're basically made to get down in an area like heater core hoses or vacuum lines, stuff like that. You can really get on there after you've removed the clamp, and you can get in there and wiggle the hose off. And these also come in handy when like fuel lines and stuff like that, the connectors, sometimes you'll have a tab on both sides and you can't really get them with a pair of pliers or push them with your fingers, especially when you're in a tight spot. So you can get around that connector and push both tabs and pull it off. So that's another really good thing about these long hose pliers. They come in handy, you get multiple different sizes. But in the professional environment, I wouldn't use this set just because of the reviews. I haven't broke mine yet, but the reviews do state a lot of people breaking the tips off of these, and that's probably not something you want when you're at work. So that's basically it for pliers, guys. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time. I noticed that I did actually spend quite a bit of time on pliers, but if you guys have a set of pliers that you really like and you want to share with people, please leave it in the comments. If I missed any certain set of pliers, I don't think I missed anything that I have here at least. But if I did miss anything, please remind me. Maybe I'll look into them. I obviously haven't found myself needing them if I did skip something. But that's basically it, guys. Next time, I do want to state that I have been doing a lot of research on my previous video about the toolboxes, how I was planning on selling my Matco service cart when I got out of school and getting something different. You guys responded very well with that. I got a lot of information from a lot of you guys, so thank you so much for that. I'm doing a bunch of research, kind of comparing toolboxes, prices, quality, everything like that, and I want to find in person as many of these toolboxes as I can so I can actually get my hands on them, so I know what they feel like. And once again, thank you guys so much for all the information. And that's what I want for all my videos. If you guys have any knowledge or information on anything, on any of my Tool Talk videos, please leave it in the comments. It's always more knowledge for me, and it's just helping others by sharing your knowledge as well. So thank you guys once again for watching Tool Talk episode 8, I believe, on Tony the Technician's channel. And make sure to hit that thumbs up if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys.